Hi,
Hello, how are we doing?
welcome today, guys. Welcome to another episode of Dai Good Talk, and I'm here with Chantel, Shannan, Shanti. She's known by many names. Could you introduce yourself to the people who don't know you?
Well, my name is Chantel Shannan. Shannon's Marketing, also known as the term Shans comes from Shannon. I do content creation and video directing. Yes.
Okay, and what are we going to speak about today?
We're gonna basically differentiate the gap between the content creators, the photographers, and the videographers because all of them display like a massive role, but it still have a gap that is actually separate them, a huge gap actually that is go unnoticed. So
Okay, so you have any questions for me?
being a professional, how long now you in the game with photography?
I would say 2011.
2011 to now, right?
Mhm.
So seeing that how the market was in 2011 to now, it changed real fast and in a big way.
Back then, there were very few people doing content creation at all. When it comes to like photography, there was like Eustace Dyer. There was um
You had people like 80.
nah, that was before his time. There
So then
was
I feel you lying about the 2011.
no
You're
he
older than you think.
nah he was like he started like maybe 2013, 14.
True.
Yeah. So there were people like all those wedding photographers, a lot of them, Peter Lim Choi, a lot of them, right? Then in the very space of like models and stuff, well then it had like Eustace Dyer, there was this one in can't remember his name. But it had a few. It wasn't much. And then that was the age of event photography. So there
Right.
was a lot in that field started off around the same time I started off. I believe in South, the first to do it in a big way would have been Andrew Sampson.
Yeah.
And after him would have came Trini Waves, which is a Malaysian guy, one of the best. He taught me photography. Then there was Peter Lim Choi also. He got into that. There was myself, at the time known as Epic Entertainment. There was Darian Photography, 80 Photography, and a few others. There was Trevor Goodhart also. He was real good. And then going up the road to Port of Spain, there was people like, in those early days, there was GFX Studio, which was Mark Retoucher, Ike Kenner, and another guy. Three of them was together as one entity. And there was people like, what is this guy name who does work with Patrice? Trying to remember.
At this point, you're listing the whole of Trinidad, but
No, well, I mean,
continue.
I've given you like how it started, right? So
Right.
event photography basically branched off into a lot of networking, where, especially for me, I would have met a lot of clientele. I would have met most people who I consider good friends today, like Jason Ramnat, Sheldon, Stephen, which is Lullaby, few of those ramps, logistics, big clientele. But in terms of like getting into the content creation space, I would say Facebook started it.
Facebook.
Everybody had their page on Facebook. So there was You Photogenic, there was Trini Jungle Juice. Then later on came like Line TT and stuff. And everybody had a page, and that's how photographers back then got
You know,
into
they
the
say like
social
Facebook
space.
is like the old people app.
Yeah.
Like where only old people is be
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
Facebook. And at this point, I consider myself old because I love Facebook.
Well, I mean, I off Facebook now, but it really had the boom long time
through
because
Facebook.
yeah,
And the funny thing is, back then, the focus was more on photography and not so much videography.
yeah,
Like, we used to have videographers, but the editing skills wasn't as high, and it
yeah, yeah,
was more like quick stuff, or people would usually post a lengthy recap.
yeah.
Like straight
Yeah,
shots.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There would
nobody
there
was
would
really
there would
focused
have
on
been
like
the
doing videos and transitions and
yeah,
all
yeah,
of them things.
that's true. I started in a software called Sony Vegas. Anybody know about that? As a very old software. Yeah,
Sure.
Sony Vegas.
I feel like the transition from photography into videography came when Vines was a thing. People started doing Vines. Like, it had all of these like skits something going
Yeah,
viral,
yeah.
and people was like, it was more like a entertaining app, but people,
Very short
yeah,
videos.
it was
Yeah,
like real like 5 second videos and 10 second. And at the point in time where, at this point in time that you're talking about, I was actually already in events. So we was doing event coordination all then.
yeah,
Right? And then Vines come into play, and then they started upgrade to like what come out next. Right after Vines, I don't think it had any other video oriented app for a good while
for a
until
while.
TikTok
Yeah,
come out, because within Vines they had just like Snapchat, and then Instagram bring out the Instagram stories
yeah,
and Facebook stories, and TikTok kind of fall in the place. But what I wanted to always find out is the amount of skills that it took to actually be a photographer back then. And then a whole new generation just come with a phone and was like, we're going to do videos, we're going to take photos, you're going to pay us the same money you're paying photographers and videographers, but we're
yeah.
going to do it on our phone. Like, how was the transition for you at that point in time?
Okay, well, let me speak. Let me go back a little bit and speak about the transitions in everything. So, there was the events long time where event photographers were the main aspect of your event. You needed to hire a good one for your event to do good. And then years down the road, the market got saturated with people who say, boy, I can do that for free.
I know men that used to wear a badge and nowhere own a camera, and we inside parties.
But that's what I'm saying.
Wrong this time, I don't even have a camera. But we inside. Yeah, once you have a bag on your back, you inside a party.
People was like, I can do that for free. So it come from like people like me getting 1,500 at event to a man say, boy, I could do that for you for 300 or free.
Right.
That is where the
It started to corrupt the market,
the
actually.
first saturation came. And then how big social media is now, the content creators, they're doing everything on CapCut. They're doing everything just on the phone. And to be honest, phones got so good now that a lot of them could actually make it happen. Like I can just do a lot of shoots on the phone and people don't know. You understand?
I know a lot of videographers that actually edit on the phone too, because I just use pros, and I know CapCut Pro when I see CapCut Pro. Like, you could easily tell somebody use an editing app for it. But at the same time, I feel like it was a bit unfair for the people that actually take time to master a craft, but then it become a situation like, regardless, things gonna change, so you had to adapt to it.
Exactly. I wouldn't call it unfair. I would call back then unfair where men was working hard and then people coming working who was less professional and saying, "Bah, I go do that for you for 300," and promoters paying them, to now where you actually have to be good. The app's really helping you, but you still have to be at a level where somebody can hire you, because content creation or not, if your editing not down, if your story not compelling, they're still not going to hire you. And very soon AI is going to take over everything.
That's true.
And all these content creators and photographers and videographers going to be in a space now. If you don't adapt with it, somebody can just come and hit create an app and they can surpass you. Very soon they might hire anybody. They can just have an app where it's doing everything. It might be integrated with ChatGPT and it tell the app to do what in ChatGPT.
And it just make everything. Like, you don't even have to do nothing, if I must say.
Right now there's a software called Sora that's doing AI, and you just put your prompts in the software and it create what you want to create. That would help content creators. That would help, especially for Carnival.
You think it does help them, or it does make you more lazy? Because technically, well, this is my stupid advice. Not advice, but this is my thoughts on it. I feel like the whole AI is just a lazy man's thing.
I
It
wouldn't
have
say
certain
so.
aspects that would help
Yeah.
you, but then at the same time, it teaching you not to master the skill because it already contributing towards every single thing that you need. So how
Okay,
would you
let me
even?
put it in this aspect where it could help people. Like, do you believe that ChatGPT make people lazy, or it also helps some people? Just some people start from ChatGPT and then write it over,
So
right?
both,
A bit of both. It
both.
made
It
it
does
made the lazier person more lazy, and it made the creative person more
much more
creative.
creative.
Like for example, a costume designer. There's certain apps that you could create AI images. If you know you're going with a Roman theme this year, you could type in Roman woman with brass pieces, golden pieces, anklets, this, blah, blah, blah. African woman here, wherever,
So
right?
how much people that have the same vision actually typing the same thing and actually developing the same concept, the same theme, and then when you export the work now, you're literally similar to your neighbor.
Is not really actually exporting. So this is your base, right? When you create those prompts and those images, then you have to go, if you don't draw, you have to go to an artist to actually draw what you want, because those apps are not specific in, you remember,
Sketching.
exactly materials and things that we would use for carnival. You wouldn't really get the mesh and the wire and all of that from those apps. So you know how to recreate what those apps create and draw it in your own way to make it your piece. So you still have to
I
work.
could understand when you pay like
Right.
that.
So
Yeah.
it's just a help from the
Yeah, it's
beginning,
our
because let me
assistance.
say you're an artist and you have a vision. You might have to draw that 100 times to get it what you want. Where an app could tell you, okay, I could take this look and add this bottom and this styling from all the images and draw it into one. And it might reach down to 3, 4 drawings other than
True.
100 drawings. So it could make work easier. It depends on what it is. So
For me, I feel like it made my work task sense easier to order. It's like a cheat code, and I still stand behind it as make lazy people lazier
yeah,
because it have times that I have so much emails to send out, and I don't want the emails to sound the same or look the same.
yeah.
So I would use the ChatGPT and speed up the process and be like, oh, how come I didn't think about that? And then I probably might cut it down and personalize it a little more and stuff like that. But then in a sense where the generation, we still at a level where we have knowledge on stuff. The
Yeah.
generation in front of us that actually born within the app, how would that actually encourage you to learn anything if it already provided like it there? We have something to stand on. We have experience in photography, have experience in videography, sending emails, this, that, the next. But what's the problem with when you actually born into it?
Well,
And that's all people using. Like it legit does not require you to think. All you need is the task.
true. But again, life has to get easier. If you think about the first car being made to cars now, then going to the electric and stuff, life has to get easier as we just stuck in one path. When I started in building computers, I was building computers from 12 years old. But when I started on Windows, I think it's 2000 or ME or something, years ago. And now it's just, you put in a flash drive, you hit install, and it install Windows.
Yeah,
Long
so,
time.
the
There's
program's
there's a
actually
process
simple.
called format F disk and delete, which is from a floppy disk you start, and then you have to start the whole process into installing Windows, where now you can just install Windows.
So you can't stop progress.
Yeah, you can't stop progress. To build computers, it's much easier. They created something called ZIF, which is zero insertion force. Long time is a whole set of thing and finagling with a CPU, and things just getting easier now. So it have to get easier. So in a sense, I don't really mind content creators. They don't bother me, because at the end of the day, I consider myself a content creator also.
Yeah.
But
It's only now it have like a difference between them, But before, they would have classified her as a media person, a content creator, stuff like that. But I feel like where we just meet on common grounds, regardless of being the camera person or the phone person, is that regardless, we need angles. That's like common grounds. We need to shoot from common angles.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't know angles, the video don't make no sense. The point, the product you're trying to display don't make no sense. Your target market, nothing gonna make sense without exactly. Your storyline just gonna be all over the place. So I feel like it still have common grounds, but I know a lot of media people, photographers, that just be bothered by the content creators. Because it's like they just find a way in the middle of the shot and actually getting the same shots as them. And then the person, well, the client is boiled down to, if you could do it on your phone and get the same shots as the camera person, why would I pay you for that?
In a sense, I don't really. Where it bothers me is more of a aspect where, as a wedding photographer, I don't really do it again. But when I used to do it, and you would see you trying to get shots, the perfect shots for this couple, and people with the phone in front of the family, so and everybody
Yes.
so,
Yeah. So
and then
that's the point. Like
then
the in the way.
it started as a photographer first. Videographers used to bother me because they say a shot tell 1,000 words or 1,000 stories, right? A photo. And these videographers used to step in front the photographer part, especially in a wedding. They're stepping in front. You're like, bro, I'm taking these shots here.
I see
like,
a couple reels like that
well,
already,
right,
you know.
work around with videographers. When videography started, photographers was real mad at that. And I feel they were more mad at that than the content creators now.
That's true. Because by the time content creators come, they don't have to adjust to the nonsensical shenanigans of the
Yep,
video
of the
guy.
videographers, yeah.
And back then, the camcorder them was big. It wasn't no small camera, so you pushing a
Yeah.
big lens in a man's set. Yeah.
So long
I
time,
could-
it was worse. And the
But I feel like older people naturally have a harder time accepting change too.
Yeah.
And being the older person now, I could feel it. It don't bother me, but I could feel it. Like I could feel the changes coming. I'll be like, why are you doing it like that? You know, that don't make no sense. And then you had to check yourself and realize when things was new to them and we was in that generation, it was like nothing to us.
Yeah, but I would say I lived in the perfect time because I started from film photography, then I moved to digital, and now there's mirrorless cameras. And I would say that a lot changed where long time if you needed a look with colors and thing, you needed gels, you needed lights, and
You just set
all these
everything,
things.
like
Everything
every
now
detail,
is
yeah.
constant lighting, RGB lights, to set your color, your app on your phone, and you just work it that way. Life has to get easier.
Yeah.
Long time them lights burning out gels, halogen burning out your gels.
That's
so
true.
I mean time's changing, so it have to.
I very much agree with that. At the same time, I feel like content creation is something that gonna be around for a long time. And it's gonna reach a point where, as you say, it's AI oriented. So you don't even need to put in the extra work, and that's something we just had to adjust to. And at some point too, when I was doing content, I didn't even know what it was. I was just like we was interested in like going video shoots, the videographer recording, and we getting some little videos behind the scenes and putting it in one. And then it reached the point where people was like, oh, I like that video. You know, I don't know you're a content creator and this, that. And I like, no, I don't understand what I mean. And that's when people started to clear it up. And then that's where the bridge come in. Because, again, I from a sense of your timing where I would consider the content creators, the graphics man, the photographer, and the videographer. And now people, I film it from my phone, and you calling me a content creator. Like, to me, it didn't make no sense, but, you know, as it started to upgrade and stuff, and people, TikToks can actually get, like, movies now. Like, short movies. I see some real bad TikToks already. Some cinematic-looking TikToks.
I don't really see the photographers going away. They would always have importance for that in terms of lenses and the size of a sensor. A phone sensor is just way too small to get like.
But you think they have the same respect as before?
They would, because you wouldn't. I could see 20 years from now, you still not hiring somebody with a phone to shoot your wedding. You might.
That's a valid point.
You might take away the videographer.
And
to
put
a point,
the content creator, but we need
but
the
you
photographer.
need the photographer. Videography, I see people doing music videos with a phone, iPhone 15 ProRes internally on the phone and all that. You could do that now. Photography, you can't get away from it. You need the lens is most important, the sensor is most important, and those things is a must, you know. But videography, it is a and I mean, cameras getting better. Look, the FX3 is one of the best cameras right now. Me as a Blackmagic man to heart, so for what you're getting and the quality the camera is, you can't really beat that unless you're going up into the, I would say, $20,000 going up the road with Reds and Sony Baranos and those type of things.
So, seeing that we was on the topic of the transitioning from photography into videography into content creation, right? And you know quite a bit of people from each era of content creation. It have anybody that you would say back then, now that transition also with you into content creation that you used to look up to?
Look up to in Trinidad.
Well, not necessarily look up, but you watch the work and you say, nah, that man real bad. Like, you give that man all respect. Like, when they say, who's your favorite photographer or media person, who's the first
Favorite
person that's come to
photographer in
mind?
Trinidad?
Yourself don't count.
No. Favorite photographer in Trinidad is Ikena. Creative, very creative. And that is why I would put him on top of everybody. And I'm not going into the weddings and thing because we speaking at people like Gary Jordan and them. But
Yeah, but
when
just in general, when you think about content and you think about wow, who does really come to your mind?
Yeah, when it comes to photos, I also rate. A lot of people just hate on Dory, but video wise,
Dory very bad.
no, I have to rate him because people don't know. And me and Dory made a video about this already.
I find you smiling talking about Dory.
No, because people don't know who Dory is. Like,
Okay.
when they speak about Dory, like, a lot of people now learning who Dory is. And
I think a lot of people now actually finding out who is who, like who's the face behind the names. Because normally when you hear names like Mark or who is this next one? Probably Hamilton or probably this guy, Banfield and thing. People like they know the name, but they don't know who's.
I know Banfield for dancing
chocolate
with me
without
long
milk.
time.
Yeah,
I know Banfield for Pasa days.
So that was it. So people like me, I'll say Mean Cupid.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, who? I was like, oh.
The guy with the mohawk.
Yeah, the tall red guy.
Yeah. But for sure, photography, Ikena, videography, Dory. I don't believe nobody could beat Dory with a story.
A storyline.
With a storyline.
I feel like his things just looked well figured out.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody can beat it with a storyline. It have new guys coming up, French real bad, Padmo real bad.
Well,
but I would always put Dory on top of everybody because his accolades, where he started doing over 80 music videos in the country. Real soca. Titan back then also was real good. Lord Edit was another guy.
I know Lord Edit too.
Another guy I rate for, I would say, events photography on top of everybody. I would put Trini Waves, but he stopped shooting a long time. After him, I would put Kyle Frederick real bad, Ian Davis real bad also. So yeah, those are my top guys.
I feel like with the newer generation, we all listing would be more on the younger side because as the people we grew up to know. But the first person to ever do content that I saw on my feeds that made me say, "Wait," was Padmo. Like,
younger
to be honest,
yeah.
to be honest with you, the first time I see a Padmo film, I think it's 3 AM Production is the name of his filming company. Like the first time I see it, I was like, whoa. I was like, who is this? And then I had to go and I went through his page and I was like, damn, like he work real bad.
Yeah.
And then I realized a lot of younger people was following him and was being up to date with his stuff like that. And they were more dealing with the music. So all of it kind of clashed into the Trini dancehall, into the Trini bad. And then Padmo was around for that time. And then he had like the foreign vision and thing too. And then it have other people like who was now talking about? Dory.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously I put Dory on top of Padmo. But I really have selections for different genres.
Understand, yeah.
I like how you were going to the wedding photography, event photography, because not everybody could take pictures in events.
Yeah, that's true.
Being a studio guy and doing still shots.
I started as an event photographer, and most of these event photographers now are like,
He ain't ready.
They ain't ready.
Ain't
Long
ready.
time. If that to go up to the men, if men come out like you photogenic and Trini Waves and them come back out, these new guys have to pack up the camera.
Remember, I just watch photographers now in parties and they'll be like, you want a picture? Okay, just now. Stand still. But then before, I know event photography, people moving, people up and down, people back and forth, and these photographers catching the perfect still shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the lighting different. Because you had to deal with the transitioning from the club lighting to the outdoor lighting and the sun. Yeah, it was.
Long
I
time
see
it
some
was-
terrible event photography work.
Let me put it like this. Sony, the brand Sony made a lot of lazy photographers. It helped a lot of videographers, but it made a lot of lazy photographers. It just point and shoot and you go your way.
So it's
But-
like the AI in camera form.
it's-
I would say that.
Nah, you could say
It make your job easier. Come on. Now you're being biased. You make your job
You see the
easier.
people who used to shoot Nikon and Canon long time.
Because you had a preset.
I could rate them and not strictly manual and thing, but this Sony now you point and you shoot and you get what you get and you go with that.
Sound like I hate
you
her
drop
there,
a
Mark.
preset, you drop a preset and that and you're bad. No, I love Sony cameras, but I
I
love
find for a guy that say, life is about change.
Yeah,
Life
yeah,
does
yeah.
change.
No, I
Song and a
Sony
little
cameras, but
salty.
if you hand me a Sony camera, hand me like a FX6 or something. Don't give me nothing lower than that. That's how I look at it.
Okay, Mark.
Let me speak
Okay.
on one other thing before you ask me another question.
Yeah, you go ahead. I've been asking.
I remember the transition from photography to videography for a lot of photographers in this country, and myself included. That would have been the days of YouTube around. Well, who inspired me on YouTube was a guy called Devin Supertramp. I must say that one more time. Who inspired me on YouTube was a guy called Devin Supertramp. His stuff was amazing, and he used to use, back then, I think, a Canon Mark II, and he used to use something called a glide cam, which is now the gimbals you see today. A glide cam long time is literally, you have to balance that for minutes, and then after you set it up and you're holding it and you're walking like this with the camera, it have a certain way to walk.
You ever notice them cameramen just be strong?
Yeah.
With some smaller,
The glide cams.
outer context. So you just put the topic aside. I have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I find all cameramen, the fraction, there's be a little off. Because these camera guys,
I don't
these
watch man,
camera,
so I can't tell you.
okay.
Like
These
who,
camera
like who, so?
guys, no, well, we ain't calling names yet. I go get you the names afterward, but I find all your top just be little. But you don't work on the bottom half, them legs just be small. And for some reason, cameramen just think going to the gym to get your arms bigger. Go, it
My
will
arm's
help
small,
you.
by the way. My arm's small.
Yes, such a small jersey to medium.
Well, right, because
It's small.
Yeah. No,
Right.
my arms really still small. Like,
And we're going on with them legs.
Now you don't see my legs. I'm gonna show you my legs. You never see my legs. I'm gonna show you my legs. You can
I'm talking
continue
about your
though.
2 foot, eh?
Yeah.
Like
You
the leg God attached to the side. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
gonna show you that. You could continue talking by the way while I find the photo.
Okay, yeah, I find all your portions be a little off now. Where's the scene with that? Like, it's a camera person thing. I just
don't know. You want
asking,
to
so
call
I
some
would
other-
know.
call some other
I
people
would know
now.
if to go in the gym
Call some other
and
people
buff
now.
up my arms and then. Mark, show my picture in the boxers. So smart.
God, well, because you don't see my legs, but I just saying, yeah. But I
But
really,
you
I really,
one out of you.
I really
One-
could do more legs, yeah, but at the same time, I'm not unproportionate. You understand? Like who so? I want to hear some names.
Anyway,
Since you're bad talking photographers here.
I bad talking plenty photographers and plenty videographers. And I feel like Alex was one of them that I asked. I say, Aaron. I say, Aaron.
I have
is
nothing
it that,
to say. You know,
is
you
it
know
that
Terrence
you
when
all
he lean back on
do?
the chair, too?
Is it that you all do focus on the bottom half? Or where's all your addiction with the top half of your body?
I don't know what men does do in gym. I their business. I don't even gym. I have a little thing home there, and I just do what I had to do.
True.
Mm-hmm.
You build a gym?
Yeah, girl.
You giving lessons?
I ain't giving nobody lessons. You
True.
can train by yourself. I damaged myself years ago, and I had nothing to teach nobody.
Well, we know why the legs skinny now.
He's a fool, me. Oh, God. Anyway, next question. What
I think you had a question for me.
What question I had for you, girl?
You was going to ask.
Let me ask you a question. What you see moving forward let me say next 5 years, when it comes to our field of work, you think a lot of people are going to be around, or do you think that AI is going to make a lot of people jobless?
I think respectfully, AI is going to make a lot of people jobless, but at the same time, it would still have a market where, in reflection to where it say, you will always need a wedding photographer. You would never pay a person to come to your wedding with a phone. So we would still play an increasing important role in the market, but the problem right now is the problem we was having years ago. The market right now is way too saturated. Way too saturated.
Yeah.
Like everybody just do content. Everybody believe because they have a phone, there's a content creator. Right? And it have few people, things that has actually made me say away and kind of doubt it on our phone. So I personally believe AI gonna take over. But we'll still have a little play. But this is where personal growth is coming. You can't just stick to content creation. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You had to enhance your skill in some other field too to make yourself, to keep yourself valuable and keep yourself in the market. And it's something that I practiced doing for years because I was like a teen in events, and back time they used to say, use a promo guild. And then I started to understand, okay, this is event coordination, and it have aspects there that a lot of promo guilds don't know. So I keep myself in demand going into coordination. And then I started to become the outlet where I take in bookings for the photographers, and then I started to do it for myself. And it's about keeping yourself relevant. So yes, AI would take over, but at the same time, if you grow and work on yourself and your skills within the field, you would always be a necessity in the field.
I just want to say I really love where AI going. A simple thing as a lot of people know I'm not like a flashy videographer. I don't really do no flashy edits, and I don't run down music videos and things. That is not me. I love documentaries.
Right.
And when it comes to like storyboarding, I used to use a software a long time to write scripts, right? So ChatGPT instantly make things easy for me. I could literally write a script or a storyboard and then throw it into ChatGPT, and it fix all the corrections for me and write it over in a better format. And I think things like that will make life so much
easier.
Already making it easier for me. Because I'm working on a documentary right now. I don't really want to speak on it until I drop it. But
working on a personal documentary?
Nah, I'm working on a documentary. That is all I don't know.
Okay.
But storyboarding for that, for years I was shooting that because I wanted to be a 10-year documentary, right? I started in 2017. For years I was shooting that, and I literally was shooting things that very redundant. And I didn't know until like 2021, I sit down and I start to write it out in chapters. Like chapter 1, all the shot lists, the story, and I keep going down in chapters. And then I was like, wait, now I shoot too much of this content. This is only one chapter of this story.
Yeah.
And AI actually helped me with that also in terms of a shot list and what I need to get done and stuff. So
without being repetitive in
right.
it.
So it's making it easier now, whereas I feel by next year around this time, I should have 90 to 95% of my shots.
So I'll be the first person viewing this documentary.
I think I showed you a clip of it already. If I didn't, I could show you it. But people saw it already. People saw the pilot for it already.
True.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something that I believe is a passion project. And okay, I could speak on this. We have a lot of talented videographers in this country. And I'll go back to, like, I don't know if the guy name is Trini Scope, but they are the Mora brothers. There's why I forget the name. I think it's Matthew Mora and Timothy Mora. I think that is the name. I don't hold me to that. Jonathan Mora and I think Matthew. And their father was the guy who archived. He was like one of the videographers in the country when it comes to archiving things from footage of carnival from the 1970s and things.
That is something people, I would advise a lot of content creators to go into. You see, historical photography and videography, just pay a lot to know through tourism. Like, people don't even know that, like, look how fast the heart of San Fernando changed.
Yep.
Like, they move the clock they do this, the pop that, the fix that, the library not even there no more. And like footage of Nallis when it used to be Nallis and people coming out of the library and the inside and thing would actually pay a lot.
Yeah.
So-
That guy, he would have archived a lot, and only recently he changed most of his stuff to digital. He had to take a projector, record it on a wall, and then record it from the wall to get it to digital.
Get it back.
And a lot of, as I said, from his time come up, there's a lot of talented videographers, and I've never seen a compelling documentary from Trinidad.
That's
there are
true.
documentaries from Trinidad,
But I think all this have like, you could understand when I say Trinidad quality. Like, you could tell it record Trinidad.
Right.
You could tell the everything.
Right.
It is just
there was
look
never a
like a 2%.
never a compelling story from our best
Movie too,
documentaries.
no?
That, I mean, Peter Minshall would have done one years ago. Then there was one recently that was good, I saw, but it was very short. It was like a 20-minute documentary.
Every time I see things from Trinidad, I just think the Warlock. I
Welcome
think,
to
yeah, I just think Warlock. Like,
No,
it will
it
always, it will
had-
be good, you know.
It had
But-
real talented people here, girl. It
Yeah,
have a guy
but
called.
It is, if everybody come together and probably put a project together,
You didn't have
we
to
might
come
get
together.
the wow in
one
aspect.
person
But
could do it. I will tell you, we have very talented videographers out here, and nobody made a compelling. Let me say again, documentary.
Yeah.
Because we have compelling films. There's a guy called what's this guy name, boy? His page is Welcome to Mover. That man stuff real bad. He have a
Sure.
movie called Fire Queen.
that's
He
his
have a-
Instagram.
He have a short film.
I'll
yeah.
check it out.
I think his Instagram is I from Mover. He have a movie called Fire Queen. He have a movie called Cheese. He has another one called, what was that other one name, boy? He did one with Jamie Lee.
Ooh.
Yeah, he real bad. He did one with Jamie Lee. That was a something Warlock too, I think was the name of that. That movie was real bad. So we have the people.
Yeah.
But we just don't, nobody just not compelled to make documentaries. We supposed to have documentaries. We supposed to have documentaries on every, like there's supposed to be a documentary on the Chinese that came into the country when they came in, what they had to do to survive, all of that, and what they are now. Why there isn't a documentary on that? Same thing with Indians, same thing with
I
black
think
people.
the problem, respectfully talking, is Trinidad is not the right, well, we should be, but we aren't, the place for exposure. So, like, these people would be from right or wrong, next door, the next street, hiding, doing all of these full productions and creative work. But because here is not the place of recognition, it's like everything you just go unnoticed. And probably creatives would know of you, but you wouldn't get the recognition that you actually deserve.
I find all of our film festival is...
It's terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah,
That's why
listen,
I never wanted to join our film
listen,
festival. Or anything like that.
it's something that I hope will get better, but I just personally feel financially, we don't pay them enough to actually present the top of the line films and stuff, and we don't give them enough.
We
What we
have
gonna
real
do?
good short films here, you know.
Aside from the topic of films, I saw a football academy do a tournament, and one of the teams who won, their prize I think was like what, $20, and they literally paid on a big check, and that was something that went viral on Facebook. He was posed up with a $20 check.
That's nefarious behavior.
And
That's heinous
a case of Gatorade.
Yeah.
And that was my prize for winning a tournament. So, like, if we taking we athletes and them and doing such disrespectful acts to them, like, who is we in film? In a field that Trinidad not even known for, you know,
Nah,
the cricketers might still get the little blight. Recently, music become a thing where we get a little blight, but we don't have no respect. Basically, creatives would respect other creators, but that's my main problem as a content creator. People don't necessarily give you the respect that you actually deserve to do it. And then somebody gonna come from a next country and be like, oh my God, you know, you're so bad. How come you're doing this work here? And then it's like, you're spinning in top mud.
Let me give an example. When I speak about documentaries, being a big awe in Trinidad. The best two documentaries that came out of Trinidad, let me say to my knowledge, what I would believe is the best was Vice News did one on crime. That was real good. And then Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, he does a food documentary. To me, his documentary that came out of Trinidad was the best. And then it would have been Vice News.
I feel like somebody should do a Chidi documentary.
That
Like,
when I be real bad.
And
But
listen, we have the Netflix cameras on them here.
Who going to do a Chidi documentary?
That's it. They had the Chapo movie. They had the Escobar movie.
Nobody
literally, this guy from Trinidad, like
nobody
most
brave
of his
enough to do that.
compounds,
Yeah.
most of his
Still
compounds
here.
still standing.
Yeah.
Even if you dance with the storyline a little bit to avoid conflict between the government, because you know that's gonna be a problem.
Well,
like just
documentaries need conflict, eh?
we do, but put it in a way where you're not gonna be too inquisitive. You're just gonna watch it because it real bad to watch. And as I say, Chapo, not Chapo, sorry. What's his name? Chedi. Chedi Foundations and them still up. Like most of the houses that he
There
had.
should be a documentary on
still
Abu
up.
Bakr also.
Yeah,
There
but
should be a documentary on Eric Williams also.
true.
So yeah,
So like it have things, and you know, signing somebody up for the role is not the problem. The problem is just that I personally know Trinidad, they're not gonna finance it the way it should be financed. Like you had to sell that
all
concept.
documentaries you will have to self-finance it. Even the documentary that I'm currently doing, I pitched it to the government, and the funny thing is that the documentary, I would just say it would put us on the tourism board more, but you know the government don't see that.
No, you just another typical filming guy with an
right,
idea.
within the first 5 years of this current leadership, I would have pitched it to them and they say, we have no money for that, right? Pitch it again within the last 5 years. We have no money for that. Cool.
So let me change up the storyline a little bit. 4 years from now, your documentary goes viral. Your name goes in papers all over. You know, they're interested in turning it into a Netflix series or a continue or
But
something.
the funny thing
You know,
about
that's the time Trinidadians looking to say, oh no, I know he didn't get with that idea. He's from Trinidad, you know, give him an
That's how it
award,
has worked,
finance him for this. He need anything, give him a flag, give him a Trinidad jersey, you know, help him do whatever. But true in filming and thing is like nobody
Nah,
was
yeah,
around. No,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's typical. That's the mentality down here that has actually stopped us from progressing and from
Yep.
actually upgrading in every aspect.
Look, the documentary that I'm currently doing, right? A guy from Netflix actually reached out to me to put it on Netflix. Well, how Netflix works is they have agents, they scouting agents, and the scouting agent is actually the person who is going to make the money, because they just come into you and they say, hey, let me get you this for this now. And then they go to Netflix and sell it 10 times more. So
And they keep the percentage.
the guy who came to me, he offered me $50,000 US. And to be honest, I could tell you the figures. I spent over $180,000 creating this documentary already.
So far. Okay, so you ain't finished.
TT, right? And that is without editing, color correcting, song engineering, all of those things that have to go into play after the fact, right? So by the time I finish this documentary, that is why it's taken so much years. What profit are you going to make if I sell this to Netflix? For me to say I had a film on Netflix? No,
It's not worth it.
it ain't worth it.
It's not worth it. And that's like years I work too. It's not like just
I
your common
I
sense.
rather when I'm finished with it, I sell it to someone or release it for free, and that would be my legacy to Trinidad.
Yeah, your life's work. I feel
Yeah.
like to be honest, it might sound weird, but releasing it for free sounds like a way better option than collecting bare
Yeah.
minimum for hard work. 'Cause you now talk figures, but you ain't talk tiredness yet. You ain't talk sleepless
Me one
nights
talking
yet.
about my time.
Yeah, you ain't even
I
charge for
have,
your time yet. You're just talking about the amount you spent to make something
girl,
happen.
I have over 300 terabytes home with footage from that documentary.
And then storage. You ain't even
That
checking the
is,
amount
that
for
is,
storage
that is where the
yet.
money came in, to
And
be
for some
honest.
reason, these apps are them providing bare minimum storage now, like again, smaller and smaller
Nah,
and
I have everything home. I'm not using no online storage. It's hard drives and hard drives I have home. So it's real pain and sorrow. But going back to films in this country, I just want to big up one film that actually dropped maybe some months ago. And I think everybody should kind of, seeing that is a Trinidad project, kind of go and look for it and go and watch it or buy it or whatever. A movie called All Skin, No Laugh, right?
What's the name of it?
All Skin, No Laugh.
Right.
Let me see if I could find the guys who created it so they could get a shout out too. Let me see. Easy Maverick and Romario Jose. Yeah, those are the guys who created it. And it premiered in the Film Folklore Festival 2024. So, yeah, guys,
I'm going to check it out.
go and check that out.
For
You
sure.
have any other questions for me before we end?
Right now, no. No. I think
No?
we covered most of the points because it was more me being inquisitive too about the transition from you to me, basically. So I know we kind of fill in the gaps with that. I know people would have plenty questions after that and whatnot. They could probably leave it in the comments and we can meet up for a part 2.
Yeah, no problem. One other thing, guys. We actually have polos. If anybody interested in merch, we not
I
really
forgot to tell you.
we're not really selling these. This is actually for staff, but if
And,
you're all interested
I
in
forgot to say this was my payment for podcasting.
yeah, if you're all interested in merch, we have these.
Don't forget
Yeah.
to check out Ladneck Media for your
Yes.
podcasting space.
Check
you
out
know.
Landneck Limited for all your cleaning supplies.
I hear we're in a pandemic. You need toilet paper.
Nah, get a lot of toilet paper home, but maybe when my toilet paper run out, I'm gonna need some.
Check me, right?
I gotta check you. I gotta
Yeah,
check
don't
you.
be like everybody. Check
I
me
gotta
for
check
toilet
you.
paper.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye.